Happy today. I am William Brown from IamWilliamBrown.com. This is Disconnect to Connect One Word Conversations. One Word Conversations is a self-discovery, relationship-building conversation designed to invite you to look at your language and how we are communicating with each other. Many times we come up with all the lovely words that we can think of and still find ourselves in a state of disconnection. Mainly because words don't just come with definitions, but they come with emotions and stories and expectations and a lot of other things that kind of get in the way from what we're saying. So, the more that we're willing to have what I'm calling a one word conversation, we can learn more about ourselves, more about the people that we're speaking to, and strengthen our relationship. One Word Conversations is brought to you by IamWilliamBrown.com, a place to help you be yourself and live your life. One way that I spotlight what's available at IamWilliamBrown.com is our U cards. Our U cards are part of the Beyond the Shell book series, the Finding You Beyond What Protects You and the Journey to Stay You. I created the U cards to kind of give you intention setting and journal prompts. So the cards that I picked today to set our intention is I am curious, you are grateful, and there is no one youer than you. So this is the moment where I invite you to like, share, ask questions, comments, do all those things to let me know that you are a part of this conversation. So today, our word is special. So it's a lot of things that that come to mind when this appears. But as I do, I invite my guests in so we can have a conversation. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is the moment where I invite you to introduce yourself however it feels comfortable.
Awesome. Thank you. I am Abby Spindelman. I'm the founder of Intimacy Live, as well as just being a creative woman, focused on women's empowerment and overall sort of changing the way that we interact with the world and in business. And through Intimacy Live, I help women. Mostly, I do work with a few brave men, but what I do is I help women really explore and expand their emotional, physical, and energetic intimacies to build deeper trust within themselves
Hmm.
and to connect more deeply with those around them.
Yeah, that's that really sat with me. I mean, I've heard you say that a couple of times, and even within my self-awareness conversations, there are moments where there's not a level there's not a level of intimacy in that awareness. It's just like it's like at hands, at arm's reach, right? And so to really lean into to myself, I totally get it. That's how that
Mm,
showed up for me. So
awesome.
I don't know. Maybe I need to be one of those brave men, right? To kind of work with you.
Oh yeah. Well,
Uh,
and I say that because it's funny because we're talking about special, right? And
right,
here we are, like already labeling these brave men who come to do this work. And
right,
I kind of jokingly say that because
right.
I think that men would benefit from this kind of work deeply. And it's also hard for me because I'm not a man. And so like the feminine perspective of intimacy is something that I'm very um, steeped in. And I would like to think that that translates to men as well.
Right.
But there's also a lot of things that, I will never be on the intimate knowing of when you know, think about the difference just in expression of a female versus a male. You
Right.
know, there are different or social constructs that you face than we do, you know,
Right.
and to break that down in a way like, you know, I don't have all the answers. And I'm like, you know, even with women, I don't have all the answers. But putting that out there to ask the right questions to explore that, you know, that's something that I feel very strongly about.
Got it.
And it's funny because, like, to me, and with I think a lot of my friends, like that is what like my specialness is like this ability to just be present and caring and kind and intimate with those around me in a way that you know, leaves them hopefully feeling as good as I do with after those kinds of connections, and like as fulfilled as that really those kinds of connections create.
Yeah, I totally get it. So within that, within that listening, how does the word special land for you? What
Mhm.
what comes up when you hear special?
So it's funny what when you offered this word up as our conversation starter for today, it I love this word because to me, like everyone's special and
Hmm.
nobody's special. Like
Right.
we're all just here existing, trying to figure shit out.
Right.
And you know, but yet we are each our own individual expression of life. And like that is really special.
Right.
And so that's the part that, you know, I think that sometimes special can get um, into this sort of divisiveness
Hmm.
of, you know, I'm special and this other person isn't, or this is
Right.
what makes me special, and like I'm going to hold on to that.
Right.
But what I think of as, like I said, it's like special as an equalizer in a way
Mhm.
that like we all, every person that exists has something that makes us unique and different, but in a way that, you know, I hope we're sort of moving into a um like an era where we see that as like we can celebrate those things but
Right.
not use that as a way to like make other people feel bad about themselves, um or like use that as a way to sort of keep separating, you know, that
Right.
like I can see why I'm special and somebody else can see why they're special. And like we can, you know, that's actually, even if those things are different, we can
Right.
like find that as a commonality.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because when when you're saying that, I just have these moments of, most of the times our definitions and how words show up for us is because the first time that we heard it or how it was introduced. So what I'm feeling is the first time that I was introduced to special was as a kid,
Mm-hmm.
because there's this feeling as, I have something you don't have, right? Right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like,
Right.
na 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 na, right? But the
Yeah.
reality is what you were saying is that that's the truth. I
Mm-hmm.
have something you don't have. You have
Right.
something I don't have. We all
Right.
have some. There's no one youer than you. And it's
Right.
like, instead of using that as, because you don't have what I have, you're not special. It's it's like, no, that makes you special and that makes me special at the same time. Right?
Right.
And
Yes.
it's like, but so often we just feel like, I don't know if it's societal, competition. I don't know. We blame everything on capitalism. Maybe it's that. All right. But,
Right.
that now, it's like, I'm special, you're not. Boom.
Hmm.
Right. It's like, that's the way that we have to show up, so
Yeah.
if anytime we use that. And so it's just really embracing our special.
Hmm.
And what exactly that means.
Yeah, and I think like something that kind of, as you were saying, some that's a very like individualistic way to look at this word special, right? And
Mhm.
it's and not individualistic, but like that it's tied to a person too.
Right.
But I can also think of like, special moments.
Hmm.
And I actually had an incredibly special moment over the weekend. Yesterday I had my parents come over for breakfast, and we went to a new art gallery in that just opened up in Buffalo. It opened in December, and it was like someone's pandemic project.
Hmm.
And I surprised them with taking them there because it was actually opened by my dad's oncologist.
Hmm.
Um, and so my dad has been struggling with lymphoma since 2012.
Hmm.
And over the last, I want to say it was over the last 2 years, he's essentially in remission. So they
Hmm.
took out his port this year, and so it was like um, a really big celebration for us this year.
Right.
Um, and so and my parents are huge art supporters. Like every inch of their walls are covered in paintings and photographs and just, all different types of art. And so the specialness was like going to this place to celebrate like the work that this doctor has done to help my dad from
Hmm.
a health perspective, but also because like come to find out, this man has such an appreciation of art, just like my parents, and the means to like open a gallery to like
Wow.
support the growth of the local arts community, which both of my parents have been a part of since the 80s. And
Wow.
so to me, the specialness was like bringing, worlds together in a way that like you wouldn't necessarily normally know, or like,
Right.
as someone's an oncologist and like focused on something very intense and specific, it's like there's not really time to like chat about art, or talk about that. And so to have like to know that there's this like other level um of connection that can be had with someone like
Right.
outside of that like world of health or sickness, it's just like, to me that was really special because it
Right.
just amplifies my belief that there are like people have so much depth, and if you're
Hmm.
willing to like be curious and discover that, then like that's where just like who knows what happens with where the relationship can go.
Right. Thank you for sharing that. It was kind of interesting that when you were sharing that, it was like um, this levels of special. So it's like it
Mm,
was like, okay, that's special, and no, oh, that's really special, right? And then it's just like
yeah.
that really, and it just like, it's like it's like before you said that, it was like, wow, I didn't even realize it's like it's either special or it's not. But no, it's like you
Yeah.
can really. It's like you want to see how really special this is. Just really, And it was
Uh,
no that was great. I mean, the one thing that was coming up for me, I guess the question that was coming up was, um, what what made it special, or
mm,
what criteria that that you had, or that we have, that will take it from, oh, that is just something nice to see, or this is something nice to have, to kind of give it to the special category, right?
right.
Is there
Mm,
it's just realized, because there's a lot of wonderful things that happen that, in some
mhm,
cases for me, doesn't doesn't go into the special moments, or all that
mhm.
kind of the category. But it's memorable, right? Right,
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
But then you take it up a
Mm.
notch and just kind of go from there. And I was just trying to figure out, what, is there like this unspoken, rule for our special,
Right.
right?
Well, and I think maybe it's subjective.
Mm,
I think for me, the reason that this experience was special was because, you know, and this is going to be a bit serious for a moment, but my dad, like, he almost didn't make it the first time he was
yeah.
hospitalized. And,
Mm,
he's still here.
mm,
and,
yeah.
and so the specialness is like, that helped us really. I'm so emotional about it
Oh, well,
unexpectedly, but I think the specialness was like the fact that we thought that like time was up,
right,
and like now there's more time,
right,
and we get to like not only just spend that time with him, but like get to see that, like, there's like, in some weird way, it almost seemed like the the doctor and my dad were like influencing each other subconsciously,
right.
because
Wow.
even the art that was in the gallery was like, my parents have like three pieces of that person's art in our
Wow.
home, and like, I didn't know that. I just like, I didn't look at who was showing,
Right,
and we showed up and it was like, oh, we have pieces from him and we have pieces from another
right.
artist that's here, and it's just
Wow.
like, wow, and
Oh,
so like, I think the specialness is that, like, there's the to me it was the expansiveness of
right.
that connection, and the
Hmm.
expansiveness of possibility, I think, is what really made that special for us.
Right.
And
Oh,
knowing that the appreciation of art, was something that, like, again, was a connector. And so it was
right,
like almost an equalizer in a way. Like,
right,
although this doctor was he has his own gallery, it's like my parents also collect and appreciate similar types of art in our home, and
right,
so it's like there's just that, we might see someone that's an oncologist that has, not cured, but like really dramatically affected my dad's health
right,
in a positive way. And we might see that as like somebody we put on a pedestal, or
right,
someone that's like, like really like much smarter than us, or
right,
something. But when we were like viewing the art together, that, like I said, like, we also have in our home, it was this equalizing moment where it's like we can just be in appreciation,
right,
and like, and that was just so yeah, it was just so special.
right. I no, I totally get it. I there's this sense that there's this special connection, right?
Hmm.
And with that, of all the things that your dad had to deal with, right? All
Hmm.
of the people that could help him deal with that, right?
Hmm.
And then really, um, on the other side of that, and then have these moments, because it wasn't just one moment. There was a number of moments that I'm sure there was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's great. And it's like, you look around again, it's like, whoa, wait a minute, right? It's like,
Yeah.
and it was just there was just compounding. And I think that we miss those special moments. Um, I'll speak for myself. I miss
Mm.
those special moments because I am so quick to try to figure out why this moment is, or what
Mm.
this, or how is this, instead of just
Hmm.
being with this. I mean,
Yeah.
because, I think in some cases, um, you guys could have not gone to the gallery, right?
Yeah.
And he would have still been a lovely person, and all that other kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And but it was like there's a feeling, and like I said, I don't want to put like words or anything, because it's like I'm creating this story. It's like
Right.
there's just like no way your dad wasn't going to be there, right? It's just,
Right.
this is how I'm feeling. It's like, dude, I'm there. It's like, what's,
Right.
when, right? When, and it's that type of thing. And it is those moments where
Mm.
we can talk about, you know, what might have been, or what's, or what's not happening right in our life. But just really those special moments are the ones that we're just willing to show up for.
Yeah, and I think that it's those moments that we're willing to just be fully immersed in.
Right.
Because the funny thing is, the specialness of it was also that, like, I surprised them. Like, they didn't know where we were going.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, and so, like, bringing them delight in a way that like, I kind of was like, my mom hates surprises. She hates surprises. And, like, if she can, she will ruin them.
Right.
Um, like, inadvertently, just so that she's like more comfortable for herself, which is like, it's hilarious. And so this was like literally one of the only surprises that has
Right.
like gone well for
Right.
like, my 37 years. And
Because you kept it from mom, right?
yeah, and so, like, my mom went along with it, and it was just a really it was a delightful, like, I knew that they would be delighted, or like even just like slightly like, huh, oh, we didn't know this,
Right.
and and I kind of thought that, like, that would be it, but we were
Right.
there for 2 hours. Like, we were
Right.
at this, like, small gallery for 2 hours
Right.
because we were all just, like, just, like, immersed in it, and not, and just, like, really, again, the multi-level
Right.
of connection just was, like, what kept us captivated.
Wow.
And I think sometimes, coming back to the idea of a person too, is like, I think of I think of that as, like, that word captivating, of when you're captivated by someone's presence, or performance, even, or emotion, or like just something of their expression, like,
Right.
that is where there's a specialness. It's like when it
Mm.
kind of immerses us in the experience, but takes us out of our own, like, thought patterns, or interrupts that.
Yeah. It's there's the one thing that I was thinking is that when we embrace our special, right?
Hmm.
Whatever that is, then then our life becomes special.
Mm.
Then the moments are special. I mean, it's like
Mhm.
there, like I said, it's almost infective, right?
Mm.
It
Yeah.
is just really. But and I think, to go back, as I said before, that there was always this feeling, we have weaponized special, right? You're right, that
Mhm.
if
Yeah.
I'm special, you're not
Weaponized
special, right?
special.
Right?
I love that.
You and it's like, so we're missing our special because we feel like, oh, well, they're special, so I can't be special, right? It's like, type of
Yeah.
thing. And the more that we embrace our special, then special can show up. There's those moments that are available to us. And even when we think that it's like, a small,
Mhm.
special, that because we're committed to that moment, then it can be expansive special can happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's
Yeah.
layers of it. And it's just, I
Mm.
don't know. I'm just like really getting, like, I'm getting all jazzed up. Okay, where can I make, where can be special today? Where can I find special today? How
Yeah.
can I embrace it for myself? And how can I embrace it for, my day? How I can show up and just kind of see that. And it's just,
Mm.
I don't know. It just realized that it's not just something to just kind of set me apart, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
it's it's beyond, it's it's to set me apart and to share, right?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
it's like the more that I embrace the special, right? My special. And it's like sometimes it even sounds weird. It's like, oh, I'm special. It's like, yeah, you're
Mm-hmm.
special, all right, right? Right?
Right? Like
Right?
you're a little
It's like,
special.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right, but when you
Yeah.
really embrace that, then
Mm-hmm.
how we show up for each other just changes.
Right.
Totally, it's totally
And
different.
I think it can amplify the
Mm,
experience of someone else as well. Like meaning
right.
like okay, so what is something that you think makes you special? Or what's something special
Mm.
about you?
Oh wow. Yeah. Ha.
Mhm.
um, what makes me special? I think I have a good sense of humor. I think
Mhm.
um, I think that's really because it's I what I feel like I disarm people, right? I
Mhm.
I kind of take that, and I
Mhm.
think that's a special thing that I have, because sometimes I don't want to amp things up. I don't think situations need to be amped up, and I will just try to let's just have fun here. This is something, and so that's something that it's
Mhm.
like I'm trying to disqualify myself. It's like I don't know if that's special or not, but that's something that I really
Mhm.
appreciate about myself.
And that's a skill too, to like that is a special skill of diffusing a situation by perfectly timed and just the right amount of humor, you know?
Right.
And that's something that I definitely don't possess. Like I'm somebody that has the fire that it's like, "Oh, you want to go? Let's go." Cuz I'm about to stand my ground.
Right.
Um and so
Gonna
that
light
is
it up, right?
right. Like, oh, you thought we were just lighting a candle? I'm gonna burn the whole thing down. But and that's something that like I don't think it's special, but it's like, that is something that is very that's almost like the opposite of special for me because like I
Right.
know that can be a very like that can be a
Mm,
detriment
right.
when misplaced.
Right.
But getting back to your special, I find that when you have that ability to diffuse, you probably also have the ability to use that humor in a way that really just lets someone like belly laugh,
Right.
like getting into the giggles where it just
Right.
like it just, breaks um the sort of monotony of what a day can be,
Right.
And so the specialness might be as simple as like just showing up with that 5% more
Hmm.
or especially with or even like reaching out to a friend that personally is having a rough go and they've hit a roadblock or whatever
Hmm.
and amping that up with them. Um, and not because it's like necessarily intentional in the way that it's like, oh, I'm gonna like make this person feel better, but
Right.
that when you can show up with that, it can sometimes open up the world for the other person in a way that they're like, oh, I wouldn't have thought about that, because like now
Right.
I'm kind of like in a lighter mood and solutions come through, it
Right.
just as one example.
Yeah. I really, I'm like embracing that now. So it's like I
Mm,
said it, now I'm embracing it. And it's really,
yeah.
there's a part of me that really, I guess for myself, because I think first we do things for ourselves. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's a selfish thing, but that's just it. It's
Mm-hmm.
for ourselves.
Yeah.
That I don't want to, I guess, be stuck somewhere, like
Mm,
either in my thinking, in my belief system, or something, to just say that this is how it is. And
mm-hmm.
so I want to be able to be curious enough to find another way of looking at this. And
Mm,
most of the times when that curiosity causes laughter, because it's like,
mm-hmm.
what? It's
Yeah, it's
like,
like you start to realize the
right?
absurdity.
It's like, yeah, it's like, okay,
uh,
okay, this is just nuts now.
mm-hmm.
It's like my type of thing. And so the pressure of, I had no choice, to now I have like endless amount of choices, and I'm just like crazy right now because
Mm-hmm.
all that other kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
it is just something that, I I did a post that, there's like, find the joy in you, right? So
Mm,
to find that, and it's like, um be okay with the absurdity of your big dreams,
mm,
and just kind of, just really kind of say, it's not that, because there is something that said, sometimes there's some memes that people try to live their lives, and it's like, yeah, don't do that, it doesn't work.
mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
but it's like, if if your dream doesn't scare you, it's not big enough or something. It's something like
Mm-hmm.
that. And it's like, I want my, so crazy, batshit crazy, that I just like belly laugh, but I'm
Right.
but I'm still gonna do it, right?
Yeah. But it's like
You
it
know,
creates that, it's almost like it creates that separation enough so that it is actually possible, in
right,
the sense that it's like, you can dream big and like do the work to show up for the dream and go after it, and then have it
right.
like turn out way different than what you imagined like the first
Absolutely,
time around. But if you're like in that sense of like humor and like, laughing at the intensity and craziness of it, then you're more apt to be um like, what's the right word? Not coping, but like you're better apt to handle the the changes or redirections that
right,
you go on in that journey. Whereas like if you're really attached to what that thing is going to look like,
right,
then good luck.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I don't think you can control special, really,
Mm-mm.
because I
Mm-mm.
think that's what um
Yeah.
our dreams are calling us to kind of really embrace, the magic, the special, the surprise,
Mm-hmm.
the miracle, all of those things that we say
Yeah.
that we want in our life, but then we try to manage and control it. I mean, it's like, going back to
Mm-hmm.
your story, you could have really micromanaged, that the outing with your folks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that this is how it's going to be. This is how you're going to enjoy it. And this is all that other kind of stuff. And you're just like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
we're just going. And
Mm-hmm.
I think this will be kind of neat. And then it opened up. There's a lot of other
Mm-hmm.
moments that
Mm-hmm.
you had no awareness of, right?
Yeah.
That really was available.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's so many times that I have tried to, I think because I have a little bit of your mom in me, in the sense that I tried to manage my, because I would say things like, when someone says, "Oh, you need to be more spontaneous," and it's like, yeah, I'll put it on the calendar, right? I'll see, it's like,
I love that. Yeah.
Thursday at 4, I'll be spontaneous, right? It's like, and it's
Oh my
like,
God.
so it's that
Yeah.
type of thing. So you try to, and then you wonder why. I'll speak for myself. I wonder
Hmm.
why magic and special and things that, that I say that I want
Mm.
in my life doesn't show up because I want to be
Yeah.
in control of it. And so the
Yeah.
more that we allow our specialness, one, embrace it and then let it go, right? And just
Yeah.
watch it work, right?
Yeah.
And
Well, and so as you were saying that too, I forgot to share this like little bit of the story too, that like, okay, so I did this mostly for my parents, right? Like I went and like I wanted to delight them with this experience.
good.
Um and so we went and like we had a great time, and same thing, like the doctor was actually just finishing his rounds and way later than expected. So like we were there I think for maybe like a half hour before he got there.
Right.
And and so like I ended up talking to the other person that was like manning the desk, and turns out that so at the very end of our time there, we like we were going to leave, and I followed them on Instagram, and I did it through my business Instagram, the Intimacy Live, and not my personal. And so I was like, hey, just so you know, like I just, I'm gonna send you a message, but it's gonna come from Intimacy Alive, not from my personal page. And this guy was like, wait a second. He was like, I talked to a woman who was a bartender, and we had this like wild night where we talked about all types of relationships and like how to express to somebody that like you want to be more than friends, but you're afraid that your relationship is going to like be too different, and like all of this stuff. And he's like, was that you? And I was like, it sounds like it was me, but where was it? And he was like, it was at the Tabernacle, which was this bar that I bartended at for like 6 months. And it was me. So it's like I had
Wow.
met him before, and he was like, oh my God. He's like, I reference
Wow.
that conversation all the time. And he was like,
Wow.
and I remember that like that crazy night, and it was just like so like life affirming, and we all just had such a great time, and I was like just floored. I was like,
Right.
oh my God.
Wow.
I was
Now
like, I
that's
couldn't have
special,
planned that
right?
better. Right. I was like, I couldn't have
Wow.
planned that better if I tried. And so, that idea of like being open to the magic,
Right.
and like really just, the specialness is when you, I think, and this is like really just coming through right now, is that I think when you can embrace the thing that makes you special, or the
Mm,
the specialness that others admire about you and you admire about yourself,
right.
that when you can like fully integrate that into like being who you are no matter where you show up,
Right.
like that's where the specialness comes through, and where the magic really amplifies.
Wow.
Because and that, I say that because I mean, I'm a little bit biased because intimacy is all about that.
Right.
But I think like when you can um, walk your talk, and not just like the talk that you teach people about, but that like here is, here's what I stand for, is like delighting and sharing in these special moments with people, and being like a lover of art, and
Right.
just being a genuine like a genuinely caring person. It's like when I can do more of that, that's when like these wild experiences that are like, what a wild coincidence that is,
I know. That's great. I mean, you just had a special bomb just go off and right.
Totally. So thanks for this word, because it
Right.
was like clearly opened up the world for me.
Oh, that's great. I
Uh,
mean, it's oh boy, I'm just
Mhm.
So here's me trying to control my special again, right? So it's like, okay, where can I be special so I can have a special
Uh,
bomb, right? It's like, it just
yeah.
kind of, and I think, like you said, it starts with embracing the special parts of yourself,
Mhm.
and then
Yeah.
and then like sharing it and
Mhm.
being out. And it's like, yeah, I think there's a campaign that we need to do, is kind of, was it de-weaponize special, right? And you kind of, we can only
Yeah.
use special in this way, because we're
I
missing the
love that.
power of special, because we think we're holding it hostage or something. I don't know, but
It's so true. I had to write that down because I love it.
right,
De-weaponized special.
so because
Mm,
it's I think, I can't remember if I had a conversation around magic. I think I did with
mhm.
Robin. But I mean, it's like things, words like that are, I don't want to say they have feminine energy or something like that, but
Mm.
they don't feel masculine to me or something. So I don't know what that's all about.
Well, yeah, and I do think that like there is a difference between female and male and
Right.
feminine and masculine.
Right.
In the sense that like feminine, yeah, I agree. Like those, there's something, and it's funny. I'm going to be speaking later or speaking on this later today. Is that like there's this cyclical nature of surrender that
Mm,
happens with the feminine,
mm,
whether it's nature, like if you think about Mother Earth and the four seasons,
right.
there's different levels of surrender that comes through. But if you think of like winter as the like deep surrender, it's like you just have to deal with the elements and you have to,
Right.
it's like, and I don't know if it's that bad where you are, but like Buffalo, it's
Yeah.
like it's literally been snowing for the
Yeah.
last
That's why I live
like
in the South. Right.
yeah, it's like the last week at least. It's
Right.
like it's crazy. But that surrender gives um pause and room for the magic of spring and new life and the
Mm,
abundance of summer to happen, And I think if you can sort of integrate that into yourself as well as like, female bodies literally have the like cyclical surrender built into it. But for men, you also have feminine energy. And so recognizing where that surrender can happen in the
mm,
sense that you're not giving up power, but you're giving up control.
mm.
And where like softening is actually your superpower in those moments of surrender. Um,
Wow.
and even just thinking about it like, an oak tree versus like a beech is a little bit more flexible. And like a big oak tree like grows and grows and grows, and the stronger it gets, like the better most of the time. But still, even the like highest branches are built for flexibility, so that
Wow.
one windstorm isn't going to necessarily take it down.
Mm, wow. Yeah. I think we can talk about this for hours, because this has been a special
Yeah,
conversation, right?
it has been.
It's really, I this is episode 291,
Oh, wow.
and I still get surprised, and I guess that's good.
Yeah.
But it's just amazing that I can come into this conversation and think that's, special. It's, that's that's a nice Monday, conversation. Let's talk about how special we are. But
Right.
there was really,
Stroke our egos
but
a
there
little
was,
bit.
right. There is so much. There's the depth to special
Mhm.
that I had no awareness of,
Mm.
before this conversation.
Mm.
that I'm just so glad that we were able to do this. Now, is there anything that's come up in this conversation, or that you would want to leave everybody with special?
Mm. I I think tying in that aspect that it's like it's not about ego, like it's not, oh,
Mm,
I'm special and like I get to bolster myself up, but that when you can just truly embody that the thing that makes you special or the multiple things that make you special
mhm.
in their unique combination, the more those special moments are going to be accessible. So, like
Right,
starting with yourself and starting with that appreciation and integration will
right.
open up the ability for that magic to happen in those special moments.
Wow. Well, thank you very much. This has been
Mm.
great.
Thank
I would
you.
love to say our goodbyes in the green room if you're able to do that.
Yeah, for sure. I'll stick around.
This is great. Wonderful. Oh, no, it's like back in I think it was the 90s, Dana Carvey on Saturday Night Live. Now, isn't that special, right? Right? He was the church lady. Look that up, right? um, yeah, we have to take the weaponizing out of special so we can get the power of it. Yeah, that was really great. Look at what makes you special, and embrace that. And when you embrace that, share that, and the special bomb will go off, right? And it's like available for everyone to see. I hope this conversation has brought value, not just to your day, but to your life. I invite you to reach out to me at iamwilliambrown.com, a place to help you be yourself and live your life, for a complimentary coaching session. Because the world wants you, the world needs you, but the world isn't waiting for you. So go be you.